You got it. You're almost there. Just put it in. Put it in. Not just a tip. Not just a tip. Put it in. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, Geek XX Chic, and we are here, sadly, at the finale of Loki Season 2, which is episode 6, and it is called Glorious Purpose. So the last episode was my favorite of the season thus far. We had Loki basically slipping in and out of different timelines after the TVA was destroyed, and this is of course after they failed to get the new what was it? The expander that was supposed to allow the temporal loom to be able to take multiple threads. And anyways, we see that Loki wasn't quite sure why he was being pulled around from place to place. All these places that the different members of the TVA were put, they were put into different timelines on different branches. But by the end of the episode, he discovered that he was actually subconsciously controlling the time slipping because his desires were to be around his friends. And through that and his conversations with OB, who was not OB but was OB, he discovered that he would actually have to learn to consciously control his time slipping in order to get back to a point before the TVA is destroyed. And for a moment, he almost got distracted from that because Sylvie basically said, hey, are you sure you're supposed to pull people from their timelines again? This is what was supposed to happen to their lives if the TVA hadn't existed. Maybe you're being selfish. And so Loki was going to let them all go back, but then we saw that all of those branches started to die. They were all unraveling, and eventually, without them, even the sacred timeline would be gone. And so Loki did not want that because we discovered last episode that his biggest fear is being alone, and he didn't want to be alone. So we saw that the fear and the sheer desire to keep that from happening is basically what ended up being enough for him to finally get control of his time slipping. And we ended the episode with him jumping right back. Well, either it's right before the loom exploded or it's possibly earlier than that. And I feel like it has to be earlier than that because we know that if he goes right before the loom explodes or somewhere in that time frame, the radiation is too high for anyone to go outside. So either way, he's back. He's back before the TVA disappears, and we'll have to see how he's able to somehow fix everything and get them back to a place where at least the sacred timeline is still intact. And I love that this is called Glorious Purpose because that takes us all the way back to season 1. That is exactly what Loki kept trying to convince Mobius that his whole existence and everything he'd done up until that point was because he had a glorious purpose. But in the last episode, we saw that he realized that he's got one that's a little bit more glorious, truly, than vainglorious, like his former goals used to be. So I'm excited, but also a little sad. This is going to be the last one of the season, but I'm ready for it. So we're going to jump right in. But just before I do, just a reminder that I do a lot of reactions here on this channel to all kinds of shows. This one is ending, but I do a lot of other things in the Marvel vein and all that good stuff. So if you'd like to support me on other shows, or even just give me your love and support for this one, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you like this video, you can go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, as well as leave some comments below. Let me know what you're thinking about this finale. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right about now. We're getting a full intro. Haven't had that in a minute. Okay, we're onto the gangway of hell. That gangway is entirely too long. Who built this?
Got it.
Covered.
Okay, so we went back to just before. Okay, stop him, Loki. Oh, is he gonna replace himself now? There we go.
First when I was out there.
You'll make it.
Loki. I thought he was back, but doesn't he know that this is not gonna work?
What happened?
He's gone.
I'm confused. Why would he let it happen again?
Is he dead?
What could we have done differently?
Good question.
Oh, okay, he wanted that to happen.
Listen, get in, get suited up.
When those doors open, get down the gangway as fast as you can.
Oh my gosh, how many times is Timely gonna have to take? Oh my god, he's gonna biff it like multiple times. Nope. Oh, I'm so sorry, Victor. Does it have to be him?
Let's go a little faster this time.
This time?
Yeah, it's not, we're not too slow. We need to go further back.
But we need your help in finishing the throughput multiplier faster.
She's like, what?
Time, and now does time waste me? Don't set the multiplier down! Again.
Oh my god, this is so frustrating.
Again.
I'm so sorry, Victor. I don't even know you like that, but you don't deserve to go out like this. You need to go further. Further back. Like before the radiation gets this bad, bro.
TVA handbook? You both wrote it. Isn't that amazing?
He's like, let's get past this now, quickly.
Obi, what are you talking about? It's absolutely perfect. Now listen up. We have to get
Look at her. She's like, Loki, you're acting weird for us.
get down the gangway as fast as you can. It's going to take some doing. It's not going to be easy. A lot of temporal radiation.
He's like, wait.
The multiplier isn't ready yet.
It is. Because timely
What of
has
wizard?
this.
Oh.
A prototype.
His face, he's like, what?
Thing that you know about mechanics, physics, and engineering.
Like a lifetime or 6?
How long would it take?
Decades.
Centuries.
Damn! Yeah, I forget that OB's been around for eons, right? Eons. Like, he met with Mobius 400 years ago. I know you're eternal and all, but really, deep it.
It looks
Is that
lethal. It is absolutely safe. Watch this.
look?
See, I'm fine. If I'm fine, you're fine. Let's go. Not the wink.
Who's it gonna be?
It's him. It's you. You volunteer. Here's the plan. Get in. Get suited up.
So over it.
Don't forget. Be brave.
Time to be brave.
He's like, there's a lot of information you just asked me to absorb. And how's that helmet going to fit over this glorious fro? There's questions.
Because we don't allow it to interface directly with Timely's adaptive exponential computing system. With all those upgrades.
Listen, Loki said God, baby. God of mischief, baby.
Let's go.
Better watch out, Obi.
him.
Looks like
Someone's
someone.
coming.
He's
for
gonna-
your job. That's right. I'm coming. Obi, watch your back. Okay.
Loki's going to be the god of science too. And I love it. I'm here for it.
Mr. Timely's ready.
I know.
You better type, baby. I don't know. Loki being all like scientifically smart's kind of hot. You got this, Victor. Maybe. Wow, the resistance. He can't go faster even if he wanted to.
You're being so brave.
He stopped his dead voice.
You're brave. You're being so brave. Go you. Wow. You amaze me.
He's only halfway. I really feel like a Loki has to do this. Can you hurry? This suit is getting disturbingly decayed. You got it. You're almost there. Just put it in. Put it in. Not just the tip. Not just the tip. Put it in. Slam her in there. Push the button. Push the button. Okay, good job, buddy. Fast as you can. Back now. Did it work? Come back.
Now come back.
Quickly.
Quick.
Yeah.
It's gonna work this time. Come on, Victor.
That thing is so freaking heavy. You guys have a nerve. Shut the damn door. Wait, too soon. Wait, too soon.
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins? Wait, did it work though?
I'm gonna go check the systems.
Finally.
Good job, Loki. I think I can actually celebrate now. It's so early in the episode though. You're just holding on to pure radiation there, huh? It's a good thing you're a god, Loki.
Wait,
What?
Knew it.
these readings are off.
Off how?
They're just off.
It can't be.
I need more than that, OB.
That's not possible.
You sure? It's happening.
The branches of time are duplicating and expanding at an infinite rate.
Okay.
Ilum will never be able to accommodate for
Everything.
an infinitely growing multiverse.
Yeah, it was never meant for that. Yeah, the TVA was meant to have one timeline.
It can't be done.
So you need to find a way to get around the TVA.
The loom will always fail.
Look at you, Loki. Little science nerd.
This was doomed to happen.
You know how much further back you gotta go, Loki. You know where you gotta go. You need to stop your friend here from doing what she did. This is why you don't break things you don't understand, Sylvie. Again, you didn't even understand how time worked or how branches worked. You just wanted revenge, and here we are.
I'm sorry.
Don't cry. Well, kinda is your fault, but not really. The other you. See that now, Sylvie? Do you understand? This is kind of why I don't want her to, like, I want her to stay here for a second just so she knows, but exactly. You gotta go all the way back, boo.
stop.
He's like, look into my mind and see how much of a mess you made.
I felt what you feel.
Oh, he remains gonna be like, damn.
Must not follow through. It all ends if you do. I know this sounds strange. I've seen it. I know it.
Check his mind, Sylvie.
The last thing I want is a throne. Sylvie, stop!
Your hand is right on her chest, sir. Do you know her like that?
Close.
I kind of forgot that He Who Remains was a bit of a dick. Are you really this bad at fighting, Loki?
If you want to stop me, you'll have to kill me.
You're trying to find the way around this, Loki, but she was a dummy. Tell her to watch your mind. See you soon.
How many times have you
Right?
been?
He saw your time slip. I know he would know what was going on.
Come on, you're not telling me you haven't learned how to pause
Nope.
time. Don't worry, lover boy. She's okay. But she is an eyeline a little bit, so why don't we just... This isn't the first time we've had this conversation, is it?
This one in particular, yes.
I know about the slipping.
Yeah.
And who do you think paved that road?
Right? Dude, he built all
Any
this.
guesses? Survey says?
He...
Who remains? Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, kiddo, did you really think I was just gonna sit back and let her kill me? Reincarnation, baby.
He's been around forever. Oh, he's a quick study. We like
What
that.
makes you think this is the first time we've had this conversation?
Because it's the first time we as an audience have seen it.
You're my favorite. You know that. When there's the two of you here, you were my favorite. Okay. How is Victor timely?
Stop it.
The temporal loom is a failsafe. When the loom is overloaded with branches, it deletes the ones that aren't supposed to be there. Everything except
Ah,
easy to rebuild.
that's what I thought.
My variants are already out.
We'll find them.
There's too many.
I won't stop.
Doesn't matter.
Never stopped me before.
I know, champ.
You don't know, though, Loki.
I'll change the equation. I'll break your loom.
Every moment of peace.
That's true. There was a lot of wars. I don't know if he's lying or not. It's so hard to tell. But he's very arrogant, so this could work for Loki's favor.
I made the tough choices. That's why I get the big check. I keep us safe.
But are you the one to do that?
Is mercy.
But is that mercy for him? Or is that mercy to you?
Or for you.
I could write this stuff.
I'll find another way.
All right.
Okay.
Right?
And around we go.
Where it stops.
Game over. Or kill her. And we protect what we can.
Well, Loki, I was going to say, maybe you've learned a lot from your sister Helia. She was a goddess of war. War might be your thing. You know he's never taken out Sylvius, so.
King of what, exactly?
Interesting choice.
Okay, looks like someone got a hold of the set list. How are you doing this?
Mobius, I need your help.
This is going to sound strange to you.
How do you choose who lives and who dies? But really, you're the one doing it.
Because to find a variant who's going to be responsible for 5,000 deaths.
Damn.
Variant is an 8-year-old boy. Never hesitated, but that day,
Yeah.
he did.
Not easy.
Happened so fast, his partner had to step in and prune the kid. He lost sight of the big picture. Gotta keep the big picture in mind.
Interesting.
Most purpose is more burden than glory.
Interesting. Interesting perspective. Does that mean that you shouldn't have any purpose, though? Because I don't like the idea of burdensome things.
What happened to your partner
You know, she's the reason you're here instead of dust in a TVA vent.
Ravonna.
No, there's no comfort. You just choose your burden.
Ooh, that is so dark. Deep, but dark. Handshake? Wait, what? Why is this happening? That was the sacred timeline. So does that mean he made his choice? Interesting. So he can freeze time around her.
We're outside time.
I'm now he who remains.
It was designed to protect the sacred timeline and nothing else.
Of course it is.
Yep. Short-sighted selves.
So you have to kill me.
Oh, she knows. We like that.
Not giving you my blessing if that's what you're waiting for.
Fair.
What do I do?
Yeah. How do I appeal to your hard head?
Do you really want to be the god who takes away everyone's free will so you can protect that?
But what good is free will if everyone's dead?
I've lived through enough of them to know that sometimes it's okay to destroy something.
No, but this isn't something, Sylvie. This is everything.
There's a hope that you can replace that thing with something better.
That was harsh. She's like, anyways, you continue to dissolve. I'm going back. Peace. No, but this is so deep, you guys. Like, this is literally the decisions of quote unquote a god, right? And Loki's never been in that position before. He thought he knew what that meant. This is what it means. These are the hard decisions if you're a god or just a person in charge of many, many lives. It's no picnic. I said this, didn't I? Didn't I say Loki had to do it?
I know what I want.
What is that?
I know what kind of god I need to be
Okay, let us know.
for all of us.
You need a suit, bro. No? Wow, it has been a minute since I've seen him use his powers properly. You better strut down that gangway like the model you are, babe. Oh, are we gonna get naked Hiddleston? I mean, I'm not against it. Oh, right. Loki costume, of course. This is not the right show for that. Where are the horns? Yeah, you have to have the horns. Oh, they're larger than usual. You better compensate. He said, screw those looms. They're like, wait, what? Wait, what? There was really no time to explain. But the radiation's gone. Trying to fuel them with god power? That's gonna take a lot of magic, Loki. But that would make you a god. Hey, Sylvie, how about you come out and help? Since this is your mess. Timely's like, what the hell's happening? What is this? What's opening? What's this? Why? What is this? Not you making your magical air steps, sir. Is this God literally ascending to heaven right now? Is that what's happening? Begging your pardon?
He's giving us a chance.
I'm glad you know what's going on. Oh, I thought that was the ending music. I'm like, don't you dare. So Loki's gonna spend eternity just powering these branches himself? Jesus. Wrong deity in this case. Look at you. Thor would be so proud of you. Even Odin would have to take note. Oh, he made his own throne. Make the big decisions, get the big chair. And all he ever wanted was a throne, so there you go, baby. Maybe not the one you thought, but it means the most to you, right? He's no longer Loki, he is the Loom Master. So now Loki's at the end of time. Look at that, the whole world's green now. Bruce Banner will be so happy. It looks like a tree. Oh, that's beautiful. Is that it? No. After what?
How are things going over here?
Hey, y'all. I'm Miss Minute.
No one cares. Reboot her again.
And are we sure she won't?
Try to kill us all?
Right?
Yeah.
Not the shrug. Shut her down.
Hey, you. You okay?
No, he lost his bestie. Your file as requested.
You're leaving.
Yeah, he's gonna miss a tired, washed up old analyst. A heart of gold.
Don't prop yourself too hard.
Well, if you ever want a seat in there, it's yours.
Guess that's who's running things now, hey? Not even a fist bump? All right. It's a long hallway. TVA really likes long hallways, gangways. Just all about the cardio there, huh? It's a committee now. What's in the book? The handbooks that no one reads. So Victor doesn't get his book now. He just lives his normal life. Probably still becomes a scammer, though. That had nothing to do with the TVA booklet. So I was wondering if Ravana's pruning stayed the same. Where'd you drop her? And does she remember? Egypt? Where else are there pyramids? Mayan pyramids? I don't know. So she's at the TVA, but when? Where? How? Oh, is she at the end of time again? Is that the purple monster that came for them last season? Oh man, it's been a minute. I was wondering if he'd go back to see his old life or what could have been his life.
Never look, never know.
Yeah. But now you did.
It's weird that Loki's not here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aw, he loved that he's being missed.
Time pass.
Something he hasn't let happen in a long time. It's crazy to think about because he's been living outside of time and space for so long. Just gonna stand there? Eventually he's gonna see you, bro. Wonder if he's had a long lost twin. But is Loki okay? Like, is he getting a sandwich where he is? Does he have someone to talk to? No, he's just chilling and powering these timelines, huh? Look at you. Finally got your throne. Finally a king. But still alone. Oh, Loki, you poor man. You poor god. Surely this can't be sustainable though, right? Is that really it? No, there's gotta be an ending scene this time. There's gotta be. Seriously? No, that's it. Wow. I'm really surprised that they didn't give us some type of a teaser, but I guess. Okay, guys, well, that is the season finale of Loki Season 2, and I'm not really certain if we're getting a Season 3 or not. This feels very much like it's going to tie into something a lot bigger in the Marvel actual cinematic universe, not necessarily in the TV side of things, but really good episode, really interesting, like bittersweet ending, I guess would be the best way to put it. We picked up basically where the last episode left off with Loki realizing he has to use his time slipping to fix this issue with the TVA, or so he thinks. And we see that he just keeps going back, over and over again, learning a little bit more, seeing what goes wrong, going back, seeing if he can course correct, going back, course correcting, which is actually really smart, but exhausting. But all the same, he does this over and over again until he finally gets everything lined up and learns a lot more, I think, about science than he ever thought he would have to or need to. But he does it. He manages to get Victor to the end of that gangway, get the loom expander in and launch it and get Victor back. And it actually expands the way that he thought it needed to. And so he thinks it's finally going to be good, that he succeeded, all this jumping worked, but then we see that it immediately fails. And he's like, he doesn't understand. And we see that Timely's explanation is that, it's always going to be the more and more you allow these branches to branch, they're just going to keep going at a pace that the loom will never be able to keep up with. And so Loki's like, okay, well, that's an impossible problem to solve. Then that means I need to go back further than this. If this isn't the solution, he finally realizes I need to go back to the source, which is He Who Remains. He created the loom. So if there's anyone who has any idea of how to fix it, it's him, which means that he's got to go back and stop Sylvie from killing him, at least, to maybe buy time or figure something out. So we see that he gets to go back and he first tries to reason with Sylvie, which he should have known. Like, Sylvie in that moment was completely unreasonable. Loki tried. He Who Remains tried. She was on a mission. She was refusing to hear anything. And like she said, the only way you're stopping me is to kill me. And we all knew Loki wasn't going to do that because Loki loves her. He's just not going to do it. The same way he could never kill Thor as much as he'd put him through everything. But anyways, he ends up talking with He Who Remains, and He Who Remains lets him know that there's a lot of tricks to this whole time control thing that Loki has yet to learn, but he picks up pretty quickly. As soon as he sees that he can freeze time, he immediately does it. And so I think, once he talks with He Who Remains, we find out later on that they've had numerous conversations together. They just didn't show it, which I understand. The episode was already an hour long, but we see that Loki is trying to figure out kind of what's going on and seeing if there's any way around what's happening, because he discovers from He Who Remains that the loom was never meant to ever take in multiple timelines. He's like, it was a failsafe so that if for whatever reason what happened, which I had to think. I remember thinking last season that, bro, if you always knew that a Loki was eventually going to come and try to kill you, there's no way you didn't set up some type of failsafe or, something, especially if you've been spending eons pruning off the Lokis just in case. And so it totally makes sense now that he created the whole TVA as one giant failsafe to make sure that if that happened, there would still be something that would carry on his life's work without him being there, or at least until one of his variants was ready to take over. So now that Loki learned that, he realized that this is not really what he wants, because if he lets He Who Remain stay alive and keeps the sacred timeline alive, that means all the branched worlds die. That means all the people that he cares about potentially dying. Like, he just knows it's not what he wants, right? He doesn't think it's right to see everything that how's it go? Once you've seen something, you can't unsee it. That expression, you can't, once you peep, you can't unpeep. Loki peeped what the world is supposed to be like. Loki peeped the free will and the choice and the ability to live your life without having someone come in and take you out based on what you might do. And you can't just go back to just pretending that that's okay, right? He has an ignorance last season. He could live with that. But now there's been so much that he's seen, experienced, seeing that, basically the lives that even his friends would have had. And then, the real clincher for him is when he went back to the moment right before, excuse me, when he went back to the moment right before Sylvie was turned into ribbons, and he's basically first coming to her thinking, like, tell me what I need to do to convince you not to kill this guy. But instead, Sylvie ends up saying to him, like, what makes you or He Who Remains the person who gets to make this decision? Like, really think about this, right? Which is kind of reminiscent of the conversation he has with He Who Remains, who tells him, like, oh, I'm doing, I made all the sacrifices. I made the hard decisions. That's why I'm in this chair. I sacrificed companionship, having a life, experiencing the good things, because I wanted to make sure that all of y'all were safe. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm making these decisions. And of course, we hear Loki say to him, well, how do you know that's best for me? How do you know that's best for everybody? Like, who makes you the authority of that particular huge decision? And so when he goes to see Sylvie, she basically throws that right back at him, that, like, you don't know that this is the right way to go. Like, you're taking away people's free will again, telling that it's for their greater good, but you really don't know that. Like, there's got to be another way. And then she was saying that, she's been through so many doomsday scenarios that she knows from the people who've experienced them that sometimes they would rather die fighting for their freedom than to be put into a situation where their free will is taken away from them. So it gives Loki a lot to think about. And it was a really heavy episode for Loki to think about the weight of these decisions and realizing it's only a decision that, to his knowledge, he could make. And we see that he goes back to He Who Remains, and He Who Remains is like, well, what are you going to do? Right? You let her kill me. And he says that happens, there's a war that happens and everyone dies. But does he really know that? How does he know it's going to be that way? And honestly, I feel like He Who Remains constantly dismisses how powerful Loki is. Like, even last season, he kind of touched on the fact that the Lokis were an anomaly because they're not like regular humans. They're gods, right? They're not quite, they don't fit into the pattern scientifically. And so the fact that he's saying all this stuff with such definitiveness is what I was like, I think he might be lying in the sense of not necessarily being 100% sure of the outcome. The only thing he's sure of is that there's variants of him and that they're worse than he is and that they will come. But he has no idea what will happen beyond that because, like I said, Loki has always been outside. He's always been an outlier in all of his equations. So we see that Loki has a lot to think about. He goes back and has a really good conversation with Mobius around like, how do you decide who lives or dies, right? And he asks Mobius because he knows that his job as a TVA agent has involved him having to prune people based on what they might do. And Mobius basically lets him know, like, this is not an easy decision. It's not easy and it's not glorious in any way. And then he comes back to that line that we started this whole series with about the glorious purpose. And he's like, yeah, the purpose is less glory, more burden, right? You're not burdened with glory. Like it's just burden. And, he's like, you can't be the person who runs away from making those hard decisions because you're scared of the burden. Part of having your purpose means being burdened with the responsibility of making decisions to fulfill that purpose, right? So he basically lets Loki know that he tells us the backstory of him and Ravonna, which, again, we didn't really know. Like they've hinted at in the last season, him and Ravonna had conversations that hinted on the fact that they've had quite the history. But now we know that they were partners once and that Ravonna, she was the hard ass, I guess, between the two of them. She was the one who made the tough choices. So, hearing that she was the one who made a choice when Mobius couldn't, that lets me know that, that's why He Who Remains picked her, right? Because she was someone who was willing to do the hard or, let's say, less ethical things in order for the quote unquote greater good, or what she perceived to be the greater good. So yeah, it was a good session with the two of them. And we see Loki just kind of like respect it and see that, like this is why he really likes Mobius, is that Mobius really does give Loki the most grounding advice, and he needs that because he doesn't ever give Loki this advice in like a judgmental way. It's always in a very much like a, let me tell you what I can tell you from being around for a long time myself, right? So Loki takes that and then he makes the very, very tough decision of he's going to change it himself. He's going to find another way. He doesn't want He Who Remains way. He doesn't think that the way that Sylvie did it was right either. He wants a way to save everybody because that was kind of what he wanted to do. But now he has the right motivation behind it, so to speak. Like now it's not just for selfish reasons. It's because he really wants everyone to have a chance to live their lives the way that they want to and in the best ways that they can. Because that's the best way he can think of. Like he's like, if I'm a god and I got to make a godlike decision like this, like of whether or not people live a certain way or they don't, then I need to think of the best way to do that. And in his mind, that was giving everyone a chance to live whatever way they want. So that really was the most godlike thing I think we've ever seen Loki do. And he decides, I got to be the one to go out there. And he goes out onto the gangway. And I said that from the get-go. Didn't I say that Loki's the one person who could probably withstand that radiation? I was right. Anyway, he goes out there and he destroys the loom because he has to, because it's going to, if it continues to do what it's going to do, then he knows it's going to destroy the TVA and just, destroy all the branches. So he destroys the loom himself, and then he takes all of the different branches that are there, and he basically goes to the end of time, opens a door to the end of time, goes there and takes the throne that is now vacated by He Who Remains. And he's now sitting on the throne, which back in episode 1, he said that was his destination, his goal was to be on a throne. At that time, he wanted to basically be a king, if we're being real, someone who decides for everyone what's best. If you go back to his first movie when he's got the New Yorkers on their knees and he's saying, isn't it better to be to not be burdened with choice? Right? I don't remember the whole speech. It was great, but something along those lines of like, don't you think it'd be better not to have the burden of choice? And now look at him. Look at him sitting there bearing the burden of keeping all these timelines alive indefinitely because he wants them to have choice. Like that arc of growth for Loki is insane. Like it's so insane and beautiful and tragic in a way, because we know from the last episode his biggest fear was being alone, but that's kind of how it's got to be. That's the sacrifice. That's the one thing that He Who Remains said that was probably not complete bull, which is that it's a lonely place at the end of time. Where he was a lonely, sad place to be, but it's a sacrifice that you make for all these things to happen. So that's where Loki is. And maybe that's not the way it has to be, but it's the only way that Loki knows. And it was the only quick solution because, as we know, the timelines were unraveling as he spoke. So he didn't have a lot of time to think of alternatives, but that's where he is. He went there, gave them all a chance. Now all the branches, as they grow and continue, Loki's going to keep them powered. And that means he's in that seat, as I said, indefinitely. And that's the sad part about it, because it's lonely. And that's not what Loki wanted. But he now feels like he's got a glorious purpose. Right? He's helping. Well, we can't even count the lives, right? Because if they keep doubling, we're beyond trillions, right? Whatever numbers come beyond trillions, tens of trillions, hundreds of trillions of lives, that's what Loki is now giving a chance by sitting where he's sitting. And I thought it was interesting that at the end we saw that Mobius is clearly missing him. Sylvie's missing. I don't know why I keep calling my girl Sophie, but anyway, Sylvie is still missing him, which I think is going to make Loki feel really good, because he's always wanted to make an impact on people. And now it's one where people are actually favorably remembering him. But as I said, I don't think this is a permanent solution. Loki is eternal, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. That's a horrible fate to think of it in one way. So I don't know. I feel like this is definitely going to feed into some of the movies coming up in the next phase of Marvel at some point. Something's going to happen, something about the Kangs. I'm sure one of the Kangs is eventually going to show up and probably mess that whole thing up. But for now, Loki is someplace that he wants to be. He feels like he's doing something that's purposeful. And I said in the reaction that I really wish that Thor was able to see this, because, Thor always knew that Loki had good in him. But I think if he saw Loki doing this, he'd be so proud of him, like super proud of him. He'd be out there drinking beer and like telling his buddies about his godlike brother who's keeping all these timelines alive. Like, he'd be so happy. Like, that's a true god, right? That's truly godly things that Loki's finally doing with no mischief involved from what we can see so far. Also love the costume design change with the bigger horns and kind of changing up the whole robe. It's much, I don't know, it's cool. It shows kind of that Loki has evolved. His costume should evolve just as he has. So yeah, really good finale. Great season overall. Like, it was something where it was pretty chill. Like, you can tell it was pretty condensed. We were pretty much in one set for the most part. A lot of dialogue this season versus action, but I'm good with it. Like, I feel like we covered a lot, and the most important thing is that we saw the progression of Loki, and we've gotten to a place where he really is a different and improved god. And yeah, I'm really excited to see where else he's going to go in the Marvelverse going forward. I don't know how much he's going to be involved, but I did hear that he signed on for some more stuff. So yeah, if that is true, I look forward to seeing him in future projects, because I love Tom Hiddleston and I love this character even more now. So I had a great time so far. I had a great time this season, great time this episode. So what did you guys think? Please let me know in the comments if I missed something, or if there's other theories that you have, or maybe you've heard about some other things that are going to be happening now that he's here. But yeah, I'd love to hear what your theories are as far as how sustainable this new position that Loki is in is going forward, because I'm really, really interested to know. All right, well, that's pretty much it for this episode and this season, guys. If this is all that you watched from me, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in another show that I react to. And if not, we'll see you in the next video.